When I hear some Republicans and talking heads speak, this is what I hear. I hate liberal cancel culture, and I believe it absolutely destroys our freedom of speech. But there are a few things I'd like to ban or do away with, like Disney, NPR, Bud Light, the FBI, CIA. Oh, and this giant pile of books over here. While you're at it, why don't we get rid of some of the Democratic lawmakers that I don't really like to listen to? Uh, People that speak of wokeness and everyone that mentions diversity, they need to stop too. And you know what? Why don't we get rid of drag shows? And of course, the people that defend the drag shows. And the people that defend the defenders of drag shows, and anyone else that defends the defenders of the defenders of the defenders of the defenders of drag shows. And did I forget to mention we should really get rid of the LGBT community? I mean, we don't really need that anymore. Lastly, I think we need to get rid of the Department of Education and PBS. Oh, and this pile of books. I mean, you can see it from both sides because both sides do ban things. But this just really triggered me one day because I saw a post where somebody just went off complaining about all cancel culture and all banning of things was because of Democrats or the left, because liberals do everything bad. And I was thinking about it, going, that really doesn't happen. It's kind of a two-way street, both sides want to ban different things. So I thought today I might discuss some of this cancel culture and what each side is kind of banning and, show that there is kind of a difference. Is there a solution? I really don't know, but I don't know. We're stuck in it anyway. So, anyhow, I'm Sean. Welcome to my channel. I try to do things weekly at the moment just for my own personal observation, taking a break from true crime. Social commentary is always a really interesting thing. If I knew how to put movies and stuff like that at the moment, I might do some reviews. If you can think of anything that you'd like to see me talk about or explain more to people, please leave a comment in the comments. Wow, that made sense. Um, and I will see about getting to it. It's my goal to try to get more people aware of what's going on. So please subscribe if you're not. Give me a big like, follow, whatever. I really appreciate it. So let's get started with cancel culture. At the 2020 RNC, Donald Trump said the goal of cancel culture is to make decent Americans live in fear of being fired, expelled, shamed, humiliated, and driven from society as we know it. Kind of sounds weird coming from him. And of course, that kind of sounds like the goal of a lot of people in the Republican Party under Trump's rule. I might be wrong, but I hear a lot of shaming and humiliating from that side. Just saying. Uh, he was upset at that time because Twitter, Facebook, and Google were blocking him from putting up his disinformation and hate. The thing is, though, that he's not really getting is that these services are provided by their own personal entities. They can make the rules fit their agenda. They don't have to follow freedom of speech. You know, it's not always about freedom of speech. It's what they don't want said. And Facebook is a terrible one for that because I know there's been times where a friend of mine will post something stupid. And I mean, this is like a personal friend that I know that it's not a Facebook friend, it's an actual physical friend that I can touch that I hang out with. And he'll say something stupid, and I'll post, like, God, you're an idiot. And Facebook will flag it. And I have been banned up to 7 days for making a comment like that. Even a one word going, calling him a dork, saying, you dork. Or I guess I just went dork. I got a ban for it. Because they said that I was bullying my friend. And he tried to argue with Facebook saying, no, we know each other. We're joking around. It's called a joke. But they banned it. Now, what Trump doesn't seem to understand is he thinks that he could sue these companies because they were banning his words back then. Well, it's their companies. You're not going to go walking into a courtroom and telling the judge to F off and the bailiff to F off and just sit there swearing up a storm. And the judge isn't going to do anything. You're going to get contempt of court. You're going to get fined. You're going to get jail time because that's his area and his right to do it. Yes, it might be your freedom of speech to tell a cop, go F yourself, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to possibly get in trouble for it, depending on how you do it. Some people will say that it's stupid, but it's their policies. It's all about policies. Cancel culture is just basically a more severe form of political correctness. If you remember the PC movement, I believe most of the 90s doing the PC movement. Instead of being fat, I'm gravitationally challenged. I have more of me being pulled down by the earth. So that's what, makes me fat, I guess. And as much as I love the freedom of speech, I totally understand how our words can hurt others. So banning certain words might be needed, but it has to be a group consensus. You can't sit there and tell people, and don't get me wrong, I don't use these words, but these are certain hot ticket words, like the N word. People saying don't use it, don't use it, don't use it. Yet sometimes those same people are the ones who are using it with their friends. Or this is our word. Mm, maybe. I know with the F word for homosexual, I've heard a lot of gay guys using that word quite often. But if you use the word, you're shunned. We can't classify certain words as my word or your word. Because people are going to get upset, get jealous, and be like, oh, I want to say it too. I want to be cool just like you. So why not just stop saying the word? Um, There's so many racial slurs out there, and it's sad, because some word gets figured out that they don't care anymore, so they change it. Let's take the R word for mentally handicapped people. And I know that's a hot topic word that you can't say anymore, but it means slowed. The definition of the word that starts with R means slowed. You can't use that word anymore. But now they are special ed, which they've shortened to SPED, SPED. Now, my stepson had to be in a SPED class for, I think, math because he just wasn't catching on very well with it. And kids were making fun of him, going, "Oh, you're just a SPED, you're a SPED." So instead of using the R word, now they're calling him a SPED. Um, it makes no difference. People are going to use words to hurt other people, no matter how they do it. And we just have to take that into consideration. And I can go all day on words and this subject, but I don't want to make it too long. I do want to say that the left, with the Me Too movement and everything, they want to cancel some noted celebrities, which I totally understand. Kevin Kevin Spacey did some awful things to Anthony Rapp. Bill Cosby did awful things to many women. And Harvey Weinstein can just rot. I really don't care. But when you punish Kevin or Bill by not watching their movies or buying their DVDs, what you're doing is punishing everyone else that was involved in that project. Yes, Bill Cosby might be a terrible human being, but shows like The Cosby Show, Fat Albert, they're loved by millions. And anyone that's Gen X probably watched Picture Pages once or twice in their life. And as soon as I said Picture Pages, it started rolling in your head that you know the tune. And you know Picture Pages I don't think has been made since the late 80s, but it's still there. But all the people that worked on it should not be punished because of his ineptitude. Same goes for Spacey. There's some good movies out there, and he is a good actor. And what he did was terrible. But you also have to understand there's other actors, actresses, directors, cameramen, grips, special effects artists, and all the other people behind the scenes that are getting punished if you don't watch his films. And how do you judge on whether it's his film or not just because he's plays a bit part in it? Uh, The Negotiator. I'd say that's a Sam Jackson film, but Kevin Spacey takes second billing to it. But it's a good film. Um, yeah, so it's okay to hate him. It's okay to despise him for what he did. But I don't think it's really completely fair to ban everything he did. Unless it's something that only he did and all that, I can understand it. But, you know, those other people shouldn't be punished for his stupidity. And the last thing that I want to talk about in this little bit of banning uh, with like movie stars and stuff like that is the banning of the rebel flag and Confederate statues. Without looking from what I remember, the Confederacy lasted approximately 5 years, but I seem, and I've had friends that their family came from the South, and they say that it's part of their heritage. A 5 year span does not cause heritage. So taking down the statues of Confederate generals who were fighting to keep slaves and a rebel flag that was flown to keep slaves, I can understand why people want to ban that. Now, if you go to Germany, you do not see statues of Hitler and Grubel and Goring and all those other Nazi generals all over Germany. Nor do you see swastika flags being flown. And that was around for a lot longer than 5 years. It's just not there. I knew a German guy. I spoke to him, and him and I worked together. And he's like, no, that's a part of our history that we do not want to be associated with. All that anger, that hate, that killings, the murders, the Holocaust, all this stupidity we don't want to be associated with. So saying that you want to respect the rebel flag and all these generals and everything means that you want slavery to be around. That's what they're fighting for, is to keep slavery, to keep a person as their slave to do whatever they wanted to do. It's a terrible, terrible part of our American history where we took people from another country and brought them here. They lost all sense of family, all sense of everything. Yes, they take, when they were freed, they had the last name of their slave owner, their master, and that's the last name that they have, which, you know, I started thinking about a few years ago because I was doing genealogy on myself. And, some of my black friends, theirs stops in the 1800s because there is no other evidence after they left wherever they were taken from. And that's sad. And it's really sad that you are pissed off because you can't have your rebel flag hanging on your wall. Ugh. The one thing, though, with the rebel flag that I'm going to say is Dukes of Hazzard being banned. You're talking about a show that the General Lee had the rebel flag on the roof, and they banned the whole show. But this goes back to like Kevin Spacey and everything. What about all those actors and everything? I mean, it's just shown in there. If you watch Hogan's Heroes, they still have the Nazi flag flying in that. Um, it's still part of our culture. It doesn't need to be hero worshipped. So hanging it in your house, that's hero worshiping it because it's on some historical TV show. And yes, even though Dukes of Hazzard is from the 70s and is as old as I am, it's still considered a historical classic show. It's the same reason we don't ban Archie Bunker for his use of racism. You know, with cancel culture, you can destroy lives. Um, the right wants to ban a whole bunch of books. A lot of them are classic works of literature. Huck Finn, To Kill a Mockingbird, things like that. It's classic literature. And I don't understand why they want to ban stuff like that. And I made this already too long. I was going to go into books, and maybe I will do a special one just on books if enough people ask. Because, I mean, there's some books that are just banned for the stupidest reasons. And I don't I don't understand why you're going to ban a book for some of these stupid reasons. But that's just me. I'm just one guy sitting here talking to you. So sorry that I made this so long. I meant to try to keep it around 10 minutes, but I ramble pretty much a lot. So just be good to each other. Be good to yourself. I love you all. If you're not subscribed, please do so. I will see you next time doing some other thing. See you next time.